Yeah, well, Alma, I heard John Ross after the Bulls lost last weekend saying he still thinks that they end with a shot. They will, though, unfortunately, have to rely on one or two other results going their way. But, yeah, still certainly in there. But right up front, right up top, rather, it's DHL Western Province that still leads the charge ahead of the Lions. And, of course, as I mentioned, the Sharks making a bit of a late charge, seeming to find a little bit of form. Well, in studio with me, this is not hairy at all, guys. It's fantastic to see the two of you in here. Owen Kumani and John Mitchell, thanks very much for joining us, guys. Owen, I mentioned the top three teams in Absa Currie Cup, and it's quite nice to see that the chasing pack, because Western Province has been good, are looking as though they could give Province a run for their money in the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be disappointing if Province, current form don't make the home semi-final, but then the Puma's still in it. It's good to see Cheetahs also making a chase for it as well. So for me, what I've picked up at the Currie Cup is not as easy as people expected it. We all thought the Big Five will get in. They'll definitely cement the top four places, but it hasn't been that easy. Very disappointed with the Kings. I expect a lot more. Rested a bulk of their players earlier on this year, but just hasn't been coming. Results are not coming their way. So they'll really need to, knuckle up and make sure they make an improvement for next season. Mitch,
your thoughts on Rugby Championship? 2 matches this weekend, one in Cape Town, one in La Plata. I think the one in Argentina is pretty much a foregone conclusion. But in Cape Town, do you think the Wallabies would have picked up a bit of confidence from that match they played against the Boks?
I mean, they would have been buoyed by the result, but I'm not so sure that their performances have been consistent enough in this competition to suggest that they're going to show improvement in Cape Town. They certainly are a better team than they were last year, but they did get flogged in Eden Park. They struggled against Argentina in Gold Coast, leaked a lot of points there, and in Perth, obviously had to win late with kick receipt. So to me, again, their forward pack still doesn't have the presence to dominate long periods of the game. Clearly, we know the class of their backs, and should their forward pack dominate the advantage line both in attack and defence, well then, and the Boks kick poorly, well then Australia will get excited and possibly could hurt you.
Yeah, well, it will require for the New Zealanders to win one of the remaining 2 matches for the Boks to have any chance to try and catch them on that Rugby Championship log. A lot of people saying that's a very long shot. But we cast our eyes to Absa Currie Cup action, and last weekend the Xerox Golden Lions proved why they are one of the favourites in this year's competition. I thought, Owen, they completely dismantled the Stevel Pumas. Although it was 29-15, the Pumas scoreline looked a little better because of the late scores there.
Yeah, sure. Very disappointing. The Pumas, one of the worst performances this season, I must say. I thought they started well, expected to get the 80 points, it just never came. But for the Lions at home, they made sure they knuckled down to get the 5 points. So job well done, to the Lions. They were clinical. I think John touched onto the depth they're attacking with as well.
Also, one feature, if you notice in a lot of their clips, when they pass, their support post their pass is exceptional. There's always, when somebody breaches the line, there's always somebody coming either on the inside and the outside, and to me that's a side that's enjoying playing their football, but also it's probably a behaviour that's taught by Johan Ackerman and the coaching group as well.
Just for the benefit of those at home, this weekend the Stevel Pumas are at home. They take on DHL Western Province, that's at Mbombela, and the Xerox Golden Lions travel to Kimberley to face GWK Griquas. But continuity in attack is one of the things, Mitch, that I know you've highlighted for the Lions. You talk about the way that they run from depth and so on. What is it that lends it to the Lions game that they can just keep the ball alive for seemingly long periods?
Well, generally, the person who eventually carries to the line, and depending on the contact made by the defence, determines whether he goes to the floor or he keeps it up. Clearly, 4 people in close proximity to that ball carrier have got to go to the ruck expecting to keep the ball alive, as opposed to being premeditated and just going to the floor to clean. And very much the Bulls template is ball carrier go to floor and blue Bulls players clean. Whereas the Lions are different. Every time they go to the advantage line, they see it as an opportunity to keep the ball alive. And it really is dependent upon whether the ball carrier basically either wins the contact, and if he can stay tall and be strong, he has the freedom to keep the ball alive.